show it on your user profile, right? That's something that we're excited about experimenting, is that you'll be able to publish a live stream to your user profile, right? Yeah, bunch of other things. I won't get into it because you won't shut me up, because I'll talk about WebRTC for hours and hours and hours and hours. But yeah, in a nutshell, yeah, I don't see any problem with that at all. Those tools are there. They're publicly available to leverage our OAuth system, and they've been there for quite a while. And we actually have a public API and API docs. If anybody's interested in that, Swagger docs, api.sidequestvr.com/docs, and you can see a list of all of the public data endpoints. You can even inject your own refresh token into that page and test out the endpoints as if you were a signed in user. So yeah, you can test out the whole OAuth system there, no code really. So yeah, absolutely. It's something that we've been working on internally for a while, and honestly, it's been one of the goals of Banter, is for us to kind of dog food a lot of these internal services that at some point in the future we might make available to other developers as well, right? So that API surface might start to expand in terms of the public stuff. There's kind of three layers to it right now. There's this public layer that you'll see, which is mostly the OAuth plus a user achievement system. I mean, you can do this right now, right? If you wanted, you could have a space where people put in a 6-digit code to sign in with SideQuest, and then you can award them badges that show up on their SideQuest profile, right? So there's a whole user achievement system built into that as it stands. But then there's this secondary layer where there's a lot of extra stuff that we've been testing here inside of Banter, which includes everything from the friends system, the messages system, the event system, the spaces system, avatar system. All of these things actually exist in that layer where we're kind of testing things out. And then the rest of it is kind of the wider SideQuest API that powers all of the rest of the services that we provide between the suite of apps that we have on our main website. So yeah, in a nutshell, of course, anybody is welcome to pick that up and roll with it if that's something you wanted to do. And honestly, Barry, coming back to your original point, I mean about the XP system, we're actually still percolating internally about how that's going to work. And what you'll probably find is that in the coming weeks and months, we're likely going to experiment with different ways to reward people on the platform. But it's actually it's a really tricky thing because we need to try and find a balance, right, of doing something that's fair, that's not spammy, that seems valuable to people. We want to try and intertwine it with some extra benefits that people can get, right? We originally built the system actually probably close to 2 years now, and it works much like a lot of the XP systems. I think we modeled it on PiggyBot. I think it uses the same XP calculation which they used, which was something that was already publicly available. But in essence, yeah, it's an exponential increase in XP that you must earn for each level, and then your levels increase. And the original intention was that at certain levels you could be awarded certain things. So that's me, I guess, telling you the mechanics of how that can come together right now today, right? Unless we change it to do something else, but that's the idea. You could find that at some level, maybe something might happen, right? Maybe you'll earn a certain thing or whatever it could be. So yeah, stay tuned for that. And honestly, whether we expose that to spaces is still up for grabs. What we need to do is just make sure it stays fair, right? So a space creator can't just sit there and pump their own points up or something, or
And just
because
to
of
be
a bug or an error. Or,
and just to be clear, when you say XP, that stands for
yeah,
experience, correct?
experience points. Yeah,
Right.
typically, yeah,
Okay,
that's
perfect. Thank
the
you.
connotation there. Yeah, but yeah. So yeah, stay tuned, and I'd love to hear your thoughts. And in the meantime, feel free to pursue something that you want to do yourself. But if you have
Sure.
any insight as to how we could use that one, or any ideas, feel free to share them in the Discord, throw them into the ideas
Yeah,
channel, or
any links
whatever
to
channel you want. Really.
any links to any of these back end things that we can take a look at, that would be great.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I can tell you that for the longest time we have done sort of giveaways, right, and
Hmm.
other sort of drops, let's say, on the website on SideQuest, and we're
Right.
still doing them now, although we have changed them in recent months. And as part of those that giveaway system, people would earn points that they could then expend in order to enter certain giveaways.
Right.
And this system actually works the same as that. So for
Okay.
all of the points that you earn, you also earn XP, but you
Mm.
don't spend your XP. It's just a vanity metric that will continue to
Right.
increase exponentially.
Right.
So all of the stuff that applies to the giveaways and the stuff you can earn, there's an entire transaction history of every single thing you've done that's earned you a certain amount of points. So all of that is on the SideQuest website, and yeah, I can certainly follow up with some links on where you can find
Cool.
some more information about
Just
that. But
just a,
that's what earns you XP.
Yeah, just as an example of that, within Barry's Banter Blocks, there's about 30 people that have contributed by building things in there. If there was some way
Gotcha.
to measure how many blocks they used in a particular period of time, then that would go towards their, their block value. And
Yes.
that's how I'm thinking about using it, because then it requires the leaderboard that we've talked about before. But it's all doable.
Yes. Yes. Well, there is a leaderboard service. I actually think there's a leaderboard example in the SDK. Stop me if I'm wrong. I need to check with Aline.
I went looking
But
for it,
she's
but I
definitely
didn't
built
see it.
one.
Yeah,
Uh,
I don't think it's in the
it's in
SDK yet.
use in the Winter Sport Resort, right? You know, the
Oh,
leaderboard screens in there.
right.
So there is a dedicated backend service running just for leaderboards.
That'd
And
be
we've
great.
built a little leaderboard system that allows you to kind of submit scores, right? And user information that
Yeah,
then
please find out if that's available
forms.
for us to play with. That'd be great.
It definitely is. It definitely is. You need to dive in with visual scripting in order to be able to use it, right?
Hmm.
And there's some samples. In fact, I think it might even be on the market store that you've got like
Ah,
a collider, sorry, a trigger collider, right? Like a
right.
trigger box for the start and for the finish, and that's it, right? And then you have a leaderboard up on an actual physical
Okay,
board,
cool.
and then it'll do times or something. So I think there is a
Yeah, I
drop-in
was
solution
using it
that
in one
requires no
space.
code.
Yeah, I
Gotcha.
used it for a while, so it is there somewhere.
Cool.
Yeah,
I don't know
All
where
right.
it is.
Thank you. That's great.
yeah, no hassle. Technocrat, do you have anything you want to talk about? And I don't know how much you've been looking at this week. I don't know if you're talking, but you might be muted.
Kitty Cat's got his tongue.
Can anyone else hear
If it's not
Technocrat?
working, send in a bug report.
Yes.
Nope.
Although I'm pretty sure he's on PCVR,
Right,
so
beg
it
your
could
pardon.
be just a complicated. No, standalone quest.
Rejoin
Interesting.
space.
I mega friend you, but
Let's see if we can read his lips.
yeah, nobody's going to hear. It sounds like you're having audio problems.
Hey, while we're waiting for
Get the log out.
while we're waiting for him to come back, I should note that our current SDK is Unity based, right? That's a C# SDK. It's not one you can immediately use. When I'm talking about SDK, I'm talking about the OAuth SDK that Shoseki was talking about before. This is the SideQuest
Yep.
SDK. We've got lots of SDKs. So, yeah, with that one, it's a Unity based one. C# might be difficult to use out of the box. We don't have one. We don't have a sample for that in visual scripting. I do have the bones of a vibe coded JavaScript library that can do it and other things. But yeah, I'm not sure what state that's in. I need to look at that, clean it up, and I could potentially make that available if people were interested. I'm not even too sure if people are interested in trying to do that, right? Or if you prefer, like Barry's talking about doing, building out your own systems. I mean, this is the internet, right? And you can do whatever you want. And I like to think of Banter as open as a browser in that sense. So I definitely think having more variety and diversity in these kind of ecosystems is a better thing rather than us just being the ones that that build everything. Yes, basically.
But you still have the
so-
I was going to
yeah.
say, because it still follows a standard OAuth process. So I mean,
Yes.
Claude knocked it out in. I mean, Bob now has. I'm sure he'd be happy me talking about just bits of this. He has like a couple of these like MD scripts, Markdown scripts of just really useful stuff. I'm trying to persuade him to chuck it on his website. One of them he's got is like a visual scripting thing that Claude can use, and he created one specifically for me just to do the OAuth stuff. So I was struggling with the OAuth. I slapped in this MD file, and suddenly, it starts
It knows what
really
it's doing.
getting to grips with it. Yeah.
Yes.
So I mean, I don't even mind particularly. I mean, nobody here is a Drupal developer, and you're not building using it, so probably irrelevant. But I wouldn't mind open sourcing all of that stuff. It's literally just a social auth plugin. So, yeah.
Yeah.
all
I
cloud-based.
do think my
Click with
mic
it.
might be working at this point.
Yeah.
Also, I
Yeah.
was
Yep,
on
we can
Quest,
hear you, yeah.
like native, so there probably is a glitch somewhere, which is weird that it couldn't function. Or it could be that my headset's broken. I don't know, like one or the other. Although it is working now with the Quest.
Was working.
Nope, I shouldn't tap on that.
No,
Um,
no, it's not.
Oh.
It is.
Yeah, I was tapping on my.
Won't talk to me.
Okay. Yeah, I guess probably some comments. One, I think eventually the data will reflect this, but like having a really solid first impression with the banter space is going to be kind of essential
Yay.
for new users, because I mean, if there are glitches that exist in the home world, people will assume that the entire like application is broken.
Yep.
Just because, hey, look, the first interaction I have is glitchy, therefore like the entire like game doesn't work, right? And yeah, it'll drop off. Like it'll be measurable in the data. So just making sure that like onboarding is as smooth and also like an exemplary like factor as to what banter is supposed to like be and function, and also like demonstrate mechanics, right? Like, hey, you can do this and that.
Thank you.
It should be effectively glitch free, right? Because then other developers can kind of like validate, hey, like this works in this manner or whatnot. I guess that's just like a take.
No, I totally agree. I think that, I don't know. We've been around the houses, I think, a lot on this particular topic internally, and there's been a lot of different opinions, and a lot of people feel differently about different things. But I think the important piece that we should remember about this space is that it's not really intended to keep them there, right? Or to demonstrate really all that much, apart from the fact that you can see yourself as an avatar and then you can jump on from there. I definitely agree with you. It should be as polished as it can be. And there's definitely more that we should do there for sure. But I think, it's a process, right? And this is an improvement drastically on what was there before.
Yeah, I
And
agree.
there's still
It's
more
definitely an
improvements,
improvement. It's just
to be made.
like my first impression was I tried using the picture frame. I clicked on it, the click to audio haptic, feedback, visual feedback is pretty poor, to where I don't know exactly when it's registering my voice, to where I was like, okay, draw me a puppy, and then I got like this factory with smog, and I'm like, what the that's not what I said, and I kept clicking and trying to get it to work, and there's like nothing that I can, it just doesn't feel like it was responsive, which to me is just like a bad initial impression, especially if it's going to be the first experience that someone has.
Yeah, maybe we pull those pictures out then in the meantime. That's definitely something we can do.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I think they should be there. Just like it needs to be, every item there should be the like as high grade as one can show, just for
Yes.
priming the experience and priming like the level of quality that the platform kind of expects. Yeah, in a way. I guess. Yeah.
Yep. A big part about it as well was trying to provide people with something familiar, right? So, we looked at Rec Room, we looked at VR Chat, we looked at Horizons, and obviously there's a lot more, like I said, that can still be done. But we looked at something that was pretty basic, provided you with some visual feedback of yourself and was primarily intended as a stepping stone onto somewhere else, right? So I just want to reiterate that that is the primary goal, I think, of the space right now. But yeah, there's definitely still more to be done there.
Okay. Yeah, in other news, like I guess the inspector is now like functioning for the most part. I'm gonna like the first edition is just gonna be pretty much mostly for object manipulation, like spatial manipulation, and not really focus too much on the scripting mechanics, just for simplicity. And also that's probably a good initial like exposure of it. Yeah, I guess I just need it to be VR like capable, and then it'll be there, right? Because most of the visual tooling that needs to be generated has to be like VR centric, and that's not really easy to calibrate on with 2D right now. So
Yeah, I think the newest stuff is pretty much code complete. So there's going to be a build, I would say, tomorrow,
Yay.
early-ish, that should have a lot. There's going to be an internal build, not external just yet, but
Well, you know what I mean.
maybe Technocrat
2
might
weeks.
share it with you, right?
You
If
might, maybe.
if you're lucky and you're
Oh,
good.
I mean, it's available for anyone who
Uh,
wants to like try it out. It's pretty much it's open source, like so it's entirely like takeable. I'm gonna make like right now the backend doesn't rely on a pure space like the space state like system is kind of broken right now. So I've migrated everything to Firebase. So in order for it to like work to your own full autonomy, you're going to have to like create a Firebase account, which takes like literally 5 minutes to do, and just link the project keys with the inspector, and it should sync
Okay.
accordingly.
That's exciting.
Cool.
Yeah.
I mean,
that is.
feel free to check our link to the project on GitHub into Space Makers or whatever. I'd love to try that.
Yeah.
That sounds awesome.
It right now it's perhaps not like in a healthy state for like public tinkering because it is being refactored like really really badly right now because there's a like a huge migration. I guess like all of the scripting stuff is kind of like doesn't work, and it just needs to be kind of consolidated. There's just a lot of code that needs to be like there. It's crazy because like by migrating to Firebase, like I almost deleted at least at this point 40% of the code base, just because a lot of it was just client communication syncing strategies rather than just using Firebase as a single state of truth to kind of just coordinate all of the mutations. Yeah. And I'm not sure if the implementation I have right now is the most elegant design because it's in this hybridized like state. There probably is a much more cleaner approach just using just by going pure. I'm still trying to figure out exactly how like I should package an action where it's like, okay, like this is a mutation, and then it's going to automatically get synced across clients. I'm not sure if I should just like wrap it. Yeah, it's going to be an evolving process as to what is the most elegant design, but eventually it'll, come to a consensus, and then I think it'll be more approachable.
For anyone who's unfamiliar, we're talking about Technocrat's Inspector, right? Which you could describe as a world builder, the ability to spatially manipulate objects around you, right? Kind of like this world builder, but on steroids, and able to do a lot more than what this one can do. And yeah, I think eventually with the scripting capability, as well as a sprinkle of some AI magic, there's going to be a possibility to create functional objects, mini games, entire worlds. And be able to do that without really having a lot of technical knowledge, right? That's kind of the magic and the dream that AI kind of enables, is that you can do a lot of crazy stuff, right? I don't know, right? Joseki's been talking about stuff that Bob has been doing, as has Barry. Bob isn't an engineer, he isn't a developer, He doesn't know how to use code at all, but he's been enabled to do some crazy stuff in the last little while. The same thing is you could say about Aline, who is also not an engineer, but in the entire company, as we've been sort of migrating over to leveraging more and more AI as part of our daily workflows, I've been really interested to know who's going to be the person who's going to have a full product shipped right to the brunt of our audience that has been, pretty much entirely coded by AI. And it looks like Aline is going to be the one. They're getting rid of Quest Homes on Quest, as I'm sure some of you are aware of, right? V81 and above of the firmware is killing Quest Homes. So here is some inside scoop that you've heard here first. Aline has been working vibe coding a little setup that's going to, in some way, preserve the Quest Home setup that we've got, right? We've come up with a system that will allow you to load the Quest Homes in the browser. So we're going to migrate what SideQuest currently does into kind of a WebXR experience where you'll be able to browse the Quest Homes on the SideQuest site, do that inside of VR, and then be able to jump in and out of them just using your browser. You won't have to install anything. That's the ultimate hole blown through the wall of the closed wall garden. The browser is always the open solution. So that's one thing that we are working on. Oh, hang on, my headset battery is low. Let me plug it in quickly. There we go. My hands have disappeared as well, which is nice. Oh, my batteries on my controller died as well. No, my
Nice.
Quest tracking has just stopped working. There we go. Nice. I'm back. So yeah, that's definitely something interesting. She's also managed to pull together the necessary components in Unity to be able to do the Quest Home loading too. So we actually had this in the past where you were able to load Quest Homes in Banter a while ago. Our implementation was incompatible with one of the newer Unity versions, and we deprecated it. And it's now not functional at all anymore in the latest version. But she's managed to restore that, and that works now again. We're still testing internally across multiple devices, but she's managed to do it in Unity 6.2, the latest version that we've got. So
Cool.
it may be possible to leverage Quest Homes in your worlds. Maybe we'll build a dedicated world that you can just sit there and browse through them, flick through them. Yeah, I mean, I recognize it would be really nice to have a more functional browser interface that lets you have like listings of things that you can search, right? Whether it's events or spaces or it's stuff on the market or it's Quest Homes, for instance, be able to interact with them and have those as an extension to the space, be able to do things in the space, right? Whether it's load an event for you or take you to an event more specifically, or load a new Quest Home or something like that, something along those lines, right? So,
Cool.
yeah, I've been rebuilding our entire browser for the last couple of weeks. It has been an interesting journey, and I've learned a lot about how a lot of this stuff works. And it's in a really great position right now. It's working and it's pretty stable on Quest, on Android, and on PC, which is pretty much all of the target platforms that we support right now. So I'm pretty excited about what that's going to enable. I'm hoping, like I say, to have a real nice cherry on the cake and have some built-in WebRTC capabilities there that will allow us to stream that browser, right? We checked last week. Last week we were here, Static checked out for us, but that would give us a bit of an upper hand in terms of how big screen works, right? In that big screen on Quest, still requires a PC or a video file on each person's headset in order to be able to share things on Quest. And this would give us a bit of an advantage in that you'd be able to do that. I mean, I think you can share a browser in big screen, right? But you've got to pay, I think, a subscription to be able to do that, right? So that would be a benefit that we would have. But yeah, I ended up on a tangent there. I think I started with explaining what the inspector was for anybody who wasn't aware. But apologies, Technocrat, if you wanted to
No,
continue
I mean
talking about
that's
it.
it. I think the best demonstration would be like once it's in game. I feel like it explains itself more so like experientially than verbally. So if it's when time
Yeah.
comes.
Yes, it's coming very soon. I should have that VR build available for you tomorrow. That's not something that's going to be public yet, but give it a week and a half maybe, and it will be. And it's going to hopefully have as much of this new stuff as I can cram into it. It's going to be a pretty heavy amount of work between now and then to pull all of this stuff together. But there's so many updates, so many new things. And yeah, it's hopefully going to be just a lot better as an experience for anybody who's building and creating using pretty much all of the tools that we've got. And yeah, I mean, what Technocrat has done has ultimately served as an example. It's great that it's available there for you to take a look at. But ultimately, a lot of it has been vibe coded, right? To some degree, we're back and forth in terms of when we dive into the code base and take the reins again and sometimes start writing code ourselves and trying to just understand all of the code that the AI has written, right? But for the most part, it's still there and it's still producing a lot of contribution, a lot of value towards what we're doing. And yeah, I'm pretty excited because a number of things that have involved AI heavily are going to land at the same time, right? Whenever that happens. So I'm pretty excited to see how that's going to go in general, right? Is it going to be better than us and it'll all be a lot smoother and it'll have thought of more and there'll be less bugs and things will work better? Or is the whole effort going to go the other direction and we need to revert to us ourselves overviewing everything and implementing as much of the logic, core logic ourselves? Is the ultimate question. And it's been a little bit of a journey, I think, to get to that point, at least for us this year internally. So I'm excited to get to the end of that and see, has it worked? Because it's kind of like limitless. That's what it's like if you use it in the right way, I think, right? It's kind of like a drug you can take that kind of makes you 4 times more efficient and able to do things more than that. But yeah. Right, that's pretty much me, right? I'm already eating into the next event. I should probably not go over too long, so I don't.
Could I make could I make one more suggestion?
Yes.
Okay. So I would love it, and I know there's other people that aren't necessarily on this platform right now, but I would love it if once a week, once every 2 weeks, there was a Q&A with one of the developers for Banter. And I know that we've got Technograt here right now, and that's great. But I think it would be really super. I mean, you're great, trust me. But I think it would also be neat to have people like Gareth and some of the other developers that are working behind the scene just to come and do Q&A. And it doesn't have to be anything really formal. Just ask the questions. What do you think of this idea, that idea? But just keep it constrained to within an hour-long period. And as I say, if you did it once every couple of weeks, that would be enough.
Yes, so I would love to be able to commit Gareth's time.
Oh no, not necessarily just him.
Yeah, sure. The majority of our engineering and technical team for Banter are based in Europe, which gives it a bit of a constraint there, right? Aline obviously did a number of events in the past across many spectrums, as I have, as Bob is, and Bob is becoming increasingly technical, right? So, like I say, him being one of the creators and engineers of a lot of the stuff that's going on is something you can expect to be the norm from here on out. But yeah, I mean, if we were to do something like that, it could be that it has to be very early in the morning, potentially, and it just might not be an ideal time, right? And make it worth the while, really, to do it. If it's going to be in off-peak times.
I think where it would be worthwhile is because of the number of programmers and engineers that I know on other platforms that would just love to hear what's going on here and hear it from the developers themselves, where they're talking code out their ass, So Anyway, that's just
Yeah,
it's
maybe
a
maybe
suggestion, but
we
I
can
think
figure that out, right?
it would be an event that would be attended.
Not
I know
I,
that.
I can't agree right now, right? That I can say every
Oh
2
yeah,
weeks
for sure.
Gareth is going to
No,
spend
no,
an
no,
ear
no,
an,
no. I
an
don't.
hour of his evening
I
outside
don't
of his
mean
work
just
hours,
Gareth.
right? So
Yeah,
I just can't commit that to him
yeah,
specifically. And like I say, a lot of our technical team are based in Europe, which
right.
makes the timing there not work
Yeah,
great. But maybe there's a scenario where we can pull some people together for maybe a
sure.
one-off or a fireside
Yeah,
chat.
that would be great.
Something like that might
Yeah,
be a bit more practical than trying to
yeah.
get people to commit to
Having
a
you and
regular interval of something like that
sure,
right now.
having you and Technocrat here today is just absolutely fantastic. And look at the turnout. And if that is
Yes, I mean honestly, between the two of us, straight away, you've got an enormous chunk of mind share there when it
exactly
comes to everything that we're talking about
yeah,
going behind the scenes.
right. So
Yeah,
we're just
obviously there's some other people there, and I'd love to be able to get them together. I just don't want to. I don't want to commit their time when they're not
absolutely
here, and
yeah.
I'd love to talk to them about it and see what they think of it, right? And see if they can do that.
It's just this
But
is so much
yeah, I mean,
appreciated. I just want you to know
I'd love
that.
to do that.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Sure.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Shane, and thank you, Technocrat.
Yeah, no problem at all. Okay, well, look, we are 7 minutes over the hour, so I'm going to leave it there and jump out. And I want to thank everybody for coming. We do this every week, same time. The time zones kind of shuffled us around for a little bit there, but I think we should be fixed at this time again, which I think is the right time again, but it's hard to know because it really depends on who you are and what time zone you're in. And we're kind of in that weird gray zone right now where things are flip flopping. I think it may have just flopped and things are okay again until next year, and we have to freak out about it all over again. But yeah, long story short, this time will be the same time that we're at. Maybe Kitty, do you want to say anything if you've got anything you want to talk about? Any
Um,
new events?
yeah, so I just really quick, and then I think Kalima has an announcement that she'd like to make. She spoke with me earlier. But
Awesome.
basically, next Sunday, Dutch and I will be launching a bi weekly mini show. It's going to be at 6